Well, we go through every game here on a Monday and we sum it up in a nice, succinct little package for you. And we're going to start with the Western Bulldogs and St Kilda. The Dogs were magnificent last night in all facets of the game. The only disappointment, and it was a big one, it was the injury to Sam Darcy. Luke Beveridge, the coach, was asked about it post-game. What he said about Sam Darcy's character was spot on. I thought the way that he came back out of the bench, you wouldn't have known that he'd just been told he's going to miss 12 months, engaged with his teammates, shook the hand of the opposition after the game and sung the song.
Am I doing the home teams? Are you doing the away teams? Are we
Yes.
doing that? Have you not had time?
No, I've got time.
I've been too busy responding to those
I've
other
got-
blokes
do you
on
want
Twitter.
me to do the Saints?
I'll do the Dogs to start. They were the home team. No Sam, no Cody, no Jamara.
No worries.
Now is the time for Bevo to work his brilliance. If they can challenge for the flag with all of these impediments along the way, it would be one of the great coaching performances to minimum get to a prelim.
Putting Cody Waitman in there?
He's a very important player.
Nice, yep.
Very important player. And it's just another one down. So you're going down to number 28, 29 on your list.
Has it saved him his job regardless?
Nah.
Bevo?
No.
No. What if that?
I'm talking about let's talk about the upside of what they they could achieve something special this year and make the finals, make a prelim, it would be one of the great coaching performances.
Yes, but even if they don't, and just say they made the finals and they performed pretty strongly, or if they just missed the finals with those injuries, has it saved him his job as well?
I don't think he'll be there next year.
You don't think?
No, and I don't think they'll necessarily have to sack him. I think it'll be one of those
Mutuals,
if not Bevo's call, and I think he'll be snapped up quicker than Sammy on those oats this morning. Gone, he'll be all over him.
He said if he's not coaching the Dogs, he won't be coaching anywhere last week.
Yeah. Well, things
Don't believe
change.
him?
Things shift, don't they? Dimmer was tired,
Dimmer was burnt out. Yeah, couldn't
And
cook the
phone-
sausage.
The phone rang when he was in
Got the checkbook out.
the Mediterranean.
I'm refreshed.
I feel good.
I feel good again.
You're giving me what? You're going to pay me what?
I've got the Saints. How much room is left in that salary cap of theirs? Because they don't just need one player. It was so glaring how many holes they have in this list yesterday. They need a key back badly because I'm telling you, Caminiti is not that.
Let's just call him Lecalier.
Yep. So sort that out.
Yep.
But he's
Keep
not getting a game at the Giants at the moment.
Don't
So
worry about him.
you'll be all right.
Oh, yeah.
They need 2, if not 3 midfielders.
3.
Well, everyone's got 2 or 3 good ones. Do the Saints have any decent midfielders? I don't know. I know my friends and everyone was calling me up about Jack McRae. Those calls are probably gone now after they've watched him for the last couple of weeks. But how many? Like Jack Steele's not.
Last couple of weeks is a bit strong.
Last 2 weeks.
Jeez, you're hot on him, mate.
He was tagged last week. He had 3 kicks.
Hot on
He
him.
had 3. I said last couple of weeks. He had 3 kicks last week, and last night he just kicked the ball up the chimney.
You can't not recognise him when he's playing well, and then when it
But
turns,
I
recognise
never
every
thought
moment.
he was the right player for the group and the stage that they are at. He's going to get the footy. Of course he's going to get the footy. Every midfielder gets the footy. It's what you do with it. Anyway, I'm just saying, how many midfielders do they need? Well, they need at least 2 because Jack Steele's not getting it done.
Yep. Can't wait for Filippo to come back, see whether he is.
Yeah, no, I think he's. I'm a fan. I'm all in on Filippo. I think he's going to be an excellent footballer. And then you look to the forward line, and you hope Max King comes back, but who knows? Like that's just cross your fingers type stuff. And then they probably need another one to help Jack Higgins as a small. And then they appear to be looking at a ruckman as well. It was just glaring, is what I'm saying about just how many holes there are in this list.
Yeah. So just to talk about the performance. So the performance was a poor one, but they'd been up for a little while, and the bottom fell out of everything yesterday. Nothing worked for them. Everything you could just see it was one of them days really early.
Do you still think they're a finals contender?
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
Right.
I still do. Yeah, I think there's about 5 or 6 teams that are pretty much done for the year. I don't see them in that bracket. I mean, they've played some pretty good footy this year, and every team's had a couple of at least one off performance. One that you've given a mulligan for. Let's just talk about Bontempelli yesterday. Like, there's not many players that are able to miss this block of training and come back in and rip a game to shreds.
I don't know if there's any. Who else? I mean, there's some players that I always thought Toby Green was a good one if he missed some footy and can come straight back in and look like he has not missed anything. I'm not sure there's many others.
I had in the back of my mind Jonathan Brown when he when he come back from a couple of long absences. It's a good discussion as a midfielder. Like they come back and they're a bit sort of fumbly. He was one touch. What did he finish with? 30.
He played just under 3/4 too.
So going forward, so this is where I want to chat to you. Could you see him playing 50-50 mid-forward and kicking 20 goals in the back half of the year, as well as being a reasonable mid? They've got a stack of mids.
Could he play a different version of what Dangerfield's doing? The position is the same, the different version, of course, about how they do it.
To try and help cover for the loss of Jamara, Waitman, and now Darcy.
Yes, I could see him do that. And he'll do whatever is asked of him because he's such a team-first player. So, they used him. He started half-back last night. Then he went on ball. Then he went forward. Then he did whatever he wants. So, we'll see, but it's a good option to have. The Jamara discussion is not going to – it's going to get more fierce now, if that's possible.
Only from the outside.
You think?
I think internally.
You don't think this injury has changed anything with him or the club?
No.
You don't think there's a light bulb off in his head going, all right?
I think the light bulb
went.
I don't know if there is a light bulb.
All right. But that's, so how the club handles that will probably be similar to how they've handled it to this point. He's put the pressure on the AFL, Luke Beveridge, to step in and probably help out with this issue. Have you say 0433 98 11 16. Should we move on to Richmond and the Gold Coast?
Yes, sure, absolutely.
You got the home team?
I have got the home team. No worries. It's Tiger Timmy Taranto time, baby. Oh,
please.
Now I'll tell you what. Some teams you go to watch and you just hope they show something. They show where they're heading, what the future is. Is there have they been able to address a game plan issue and Richmond at the very, very early stage of a rebuild, and everyone's talking about the 6 kids they got this year and how good they're going to be. But I want to give their older players a lot of love this morning. I thought Vlosten was unbelievable. Bolter was very good as a senior.
Hopper was good.
Player. Hopper, Taranto were terrific. Lynch set the tone with some physicality and some extras. His verbal game was strong. I just thought the
Short
investment
kicked a big goal.
Yeah,
he
they
just
all
smacked that one from
anyone
outside
that
50.
was 25 plus. Absolutely played their role. And I reckon this is a really tough position to be in. You know you're not really contending. You're sort of it's a gap year in a lot of ways just to try and get these kids to come on. And I'd take my hat off to them. To be able to play like that, let's recognise it because it's going to be hard for them in the back half of the year.
Yep. There'll be ups and downs, and they've got a couple of really strong early wins, which is good, and that's what the Richmond fans will be happy about. I thought
happy for the coach.
Yeah, I thought their pressure, and as you said, was well led by their senior players. Gold Coast has a quote come back to her to coach more than "mate, we hate coming here." He just has a quote come back.
Mate, I hate coming here.
That's it. Has any quote ever come back to her to coach more than that one? 3 tall forwards doesn't work is the other point out of that one. Doesn't work. I know they're all talented. I know they're all going to have a bright future. But Ethan, Reid, King and Walter doesn't work. It doesn't. They're too tall. They're too inexperienced. And Mac Andrew went there forward late with a last sort of throw at the stumps. But, I think that's going to be an interesting one for Damien Harwick and his crew.
You know they're lacking a mid-sized forward. Well, they've got really good tools.
Why isn't Bailey Humphrey that?
Well, he's just not. So I know we ask a lot of their mids.
Lacocious?
No, I don't mean. He's not a needle mover.
No.
So I'm looking at.
If you could pluck any player from any club and put him into that Gold Coast forward line.
No, I'm talking.
Toby Green.
Let's look at their club now.
But give me what a type? Is it a Toby Green
Why can't their
type?
mids play deep forward on rotation? Why can't they?
Rao, does he look like a forward to you?
Have a look at them.
Okay.
They just win contests. Like you put your class players where you need to win contest, and it just works. I think Damien's got to explore this because it's another option for him. Right now, if the forward line's not working, what does he do? He throws another tool down there. Well, if the tools are failing, Mac Andrew is just another tool. I know it's a different bit of talent, but there's no small to medium-sized needle movers. I think it's a real hole in their profile.
Bailey Humphrey should be that. But
You need two or three of them,
doesn't touch the footy enough. I think they're going to be absolutely fine. So they take on Sydney, Brisbane, the Western Bulldogs, and Hawthorn. Tough month stretch for the Suns.
It is, and they're all tough games now. I think when we assess these, what are you laughing at?
They're all tough ones.
They're all tough games. Mate, how'd your tipping go on the weekend?
Yeah, I don't tip for that reason.
Yeah, Saturday I think I got 0 out of 3, and we're trying to work out what they're doing in the next month. We could work it out 3 hours in advance. We were getting them wrong in hindsight. That's how bad our tipping was going. Do we have to have a conversation about Mac Andrews' intensity to fly into packs? Not rear up and mark and neat and
His
clean.
timing was off, wasn't it?
Well, I just wonder. I reckon he'll be a star player. We love what he is, the package that is Mac Andrew. But until I see him drive his knee into a pack and split the pack in a marking contest, or it doesn't have to take the mark, but he has to just be the big body that splits it back. I think Ben King's taken a long time to be that guy. I just don't know if they can wait that long for Mac Andrew to be that guy.
They got 9 years to wait. They signed him for 9, didn't they?
Yeah, and rightly so. Well done.
Yep.
He's going to be
happy with that deal?
Yeah, wrapped.
Okay. All right.
You're not happy with it?
Well, I'm never happy with the one that's that long.
But let's talk about the player.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the finance. I just need to see if he's going to be that swing man. You can do it athletically down back, I reckon, but when you go forward, you've got to split a pack. The next time he splits a pack, I think we'll go, yep, he's arrived.
Let's move on to what we saw at the MCG. 25,000 there to see Melbourne with a really strong performance, their best performance of the year. Knock off the Dockers. We're going through every team. Kingy's got the home teams. What do you make of the Demons?
I have gone with Simon Has Hand. Do you remember the Seinfeld episode?
I'm not a big Seinfeld guy.
People out there will know. You got to have a hand in the relationship, right? You got to have a hand. He's now handballing. Guess what? They look $1 million when they link and handball and bring everyone with them. When you handball, the person that eventually kicks is in clear air and got time to assess all options, and they can be poor options for the ball, right? They don't have to have Tony Lockett coming out of the square and little Phil Material to crumb it if you miss. They don't have to have that. They can get away with B-grade stocks forward of the ball if they give high-grade entries. Now, they had 163 handballs, and I think the most notable change was their handball from centre bounce clearance. They kicked 4 goals in the first half from centre bounce clearance. They haven't done that since Jesus was a boy, right? So I look at them and I think, okay, that's a big shift. And that can work. Oliver actually went to handball, pulled one back, and then popped it to Petrarchi. Sorry, he went to surge kick, pulled it back, and then handballed. So their damage was back in their game. Defensive half turnover ball, they've been averaging 11 points. You can't win games like that. They get 37 on the weekend against Fremantle, who are a pretty good defensive team. They had a poor one, but in the main are a pretty good defensive team.
Was there an episode of Seinfeld called where they did Fugazi?
Yeah.
Frio Fugazi. That's what it was. Fugazi meaning false, fake. They're just not the real deal. It was a midfield smashing.
It's from the Wolf of Wall Street, isn't it?
Yeah, there's that in there as well. But as I said, I'm not the Seinfeld guy, but I just quickly Googled it, and I think there is an episode on it. With the names that they've got in there to produce that midfield performance against a side that was absolutely on its knees and couldn't score was bitterly disappointing. To allow Cozzy Pickett to do as he pleased, I mean, it's not rocket science. He starts in the centre bounce and resets as a forward. They had no idea what was going on with Cozzy, and he found himself in so much space. I think they should use Shea Bolton more in the Cozzy Pickett role. I thought he was excellent, Shea Bolton, but yeah, Max Gawn just did a number on my man Sean Darcy, who's not quite fit enough and ready to play.
I don't like skinny Sean.
You don't like skinny Sean?
I don't like skinny Sean. I think his advantage as a ruckman was his size. He's lost his size. Now skinny Sean, he can't stand still. He just gets moved.
He got smashed.
He can't hold his position. Skinny Sean gets moved to the side, and Max just ripped him a new one for 10 minutes at the end of the game.
You want fat Sean back?
I want heavy Sean. Skinny Sean is shizen.
That's good.
Don't you reckon?
That's good.
He got moved so easily.
I don't know.
If you watch that last 10 minutes,
my man
every
was
time
at a loss. He didn't know what to do. Sean.
Sean, I knew what he was doing. He was trying to gather himself again after being pushed to the deck.
Give him some Easter eggs.
Spend a weekend with me, Sean. I mean, they've got some problems. They have got some issues to work out. So when they come to the MCG, and I was so excited to see them on the wide open spaces of the MCG. And if your game doesn't stack up the MCG, don't worry about it. Right? Just don't worry about it. So why do they become a high handball metres gain team at home? And as soon as they jump on a plane, so they average 330 metres by hand, an advantage on the competition. Top 5, right? Top 5 in the AFL. On the weekend, they have 53. And I go, well, so you concede, you give up your whole game just because of what the opposition does. And that's a frustration of mine. If you can't stamp your game on the opposition, how can you win?
Yeah. What does it mean for Melbourne? What is this a turning point for them? Like, this is different outfit. He made some bold statements at selection, which we spoke about on Friday.
Did well.
And he did well. They adjusted things.
Could he have had a better weekend?
No. I thought he had an excellent weekend. Tom McDonald did a great job. I thought Fullerton, just to give Max a slight chop out, was handy, which Max just hasn't had, and Max's performance was as good as we've seen from any ruckman this year, but he actually got a break at times, which was good. So a good weekend for Simon Goodman. What
about Viney tagging again?
And that's what he should be doing.
Yeah, I agree.
And he got off, and their senior players came to play. So
from a Sarong point of view, so I reckon it's I always think
Sarong's a handball. He's got to be. He's too much of he's got to be a kicker more than a handballer if he wants to elevate his game to Lockie Neal levels.
When you get tagged and you get got, right, and your team loses, I reckon that's bad news for you. Because now every team goes, well, hang on, he's the one.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, Navani's not a hard sort of lock on Ryan Crowley tagger, is he? He gives you the opportunity to win the footy. But
he was good.
He was really good. They were all. It was like
good Richmond. To have the D's back.
Good to have the D's back. Good for the competition. Not a great day for Dean and the Swans again. And the season is quickly, after round 6, slipping away for them, King.
Yeah, exactly what I'd written here.
Oh, had you?
Same Sydney, and I'm fearing a bit of a wasted season. And I know they've got some significant issues with injury and have been banged up a fair bit, but I just can't. I sort of, not that forgive's not the right word, but I can't understand logic from a match committee meeting on a Wednesday or a Thursday letting you down the same way on a weekend. Like the decision for McCartan to go forward, and people say, you flog a dead horse with this. This guy is the worst target in the competition. They've been to him 13 times for no result.
He's not a forward.
He's not an AFL level forward.
He's not. And you
kick 400 in Diamond Valley. Yeah. I get it, right? I get it. He looks like a forward. Yeah. But it's just not happening. So he goes forward in the first half. He takes 0 marks and has 3 disposals. At the same time, Port Adelaide at the other end have taken 11 marks inside 50 at halftime, smashing them a contest, and the game is almost over.
Yep.
Then you flip him back. Just before I leave that, a goal conceded is the same as a goal scored, right? So Melican gets caught in the wrong spot twice in a row, and they stroll in goals, right? Leapfrogged. If that's McCartan, that doesn't happen. So why muck around trying to get one?
Yep.
Why not save two? One?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's an excellent point. Port Adelaide, it's given them life. Last week's given them life. Thought that I was wondering whether they could get themselves up, and they did. The move of Rosie to half back might be the move of the year, and he was tagged and he completely torched Jordan. I thought that was a real feather in his cap, Rosie, because I think we'd probably question that and the resilience of him at times. So to actually accept one of the best taggers in football and completely destroy him, 850 metres gain, kicked a goal off half back. But I'd love for them to sort out their last quarters. I mean, they haven't won the last quarter this year. So what is happening with Port Adelaide's last quarters is an issue, and they stormed home 13 shots to 3 in the last. I think the entries were 22 to 9 or something in the last quarter. Crazy stuff. So that would be of some concern to them. But the season is back on after what we thought was going to be a pretty average year.
I thought, you thought champion data was breaking down on you at certain times on the weekend.
Well, it did.
I thought the vision was on repeat when Blakey had the same 3 opportunities on the fly, on the run, and missed all 3.
Yeah.
Like that is unlike him.
He's kicking.
But he could have had a huge day.
Yeah.
And really been the difference that they got back in the game. So I know that there's things that have just fallen the wrong side for Sydney, but that just might be this year.
Yep. And the form of their best players, I mean, Heaney's fine, no worries, but Chad Warner's of real concern now with his lack of impact.
Did you see Aaron Carey in the
the super sub?
the last quarter?
Oh, my goodness.
7 score involvements in a quarter.
Nearly won it single-handedly for them.
When he broke through, he split the gap.
How easy is this? He's thinking. Where do we start with this team of yours?
Are we doing the Kingers?
Was it their home game?
Yeah, it was their home game.
Again?
Let me turn the page.
Oh,
There's a page.
There's
on
a whole page.
There's a
on
page.
What is going on?
I'm just working through the 7 stages of grief.
Yeah. What stage are we up to?
Well, shock is the total ineptitude of the whole performance, right? Where do you start?
No.
Then it subsides into pain. I think the pain's evident for all the Kangas fans. Anger, start blaming everyone.
Yeah.
Depression, the feeling of hopelessness. That's when Twitter kicks in and all these messages come through. And the text machine, my phone was getting that many messages. The upward turn. Did you see Wardlaw? As all the Kangaroo fans are saying this week. Did you see Gorgeous George?
That's the upside.
And then there's the reconstruction. You got to find a way to sort of get through this and say, well, we'll be better next week. But it's I'm not sure. And then hope, obviously. Hope is, when does the AFLW season start? It is hard.
Where to?
Yeah, it's hard to watch, wasn't it? I just can't fathom what's happening down back. I actually, all principles of defending are lost. Like there's never a responsibility that's seen through, and there's never the perfect defensive setup or the stability behind the ball that you would expect. You're going to get beaten in the midfield in small patches, in windows, right? Everyone has their run. Whether you're a good team in the middle or a bad team in the middle, you're going to have 10 minutes where the opposition have got dominance. You have to be able to hold up, and you have to be able to show that you've got answers. Fisher and Daniel just leak so heavily as small defenders. They give so many luxuries that I don't know if you can play not just either of them in the team. I don't know if you can play. Both's not a discussion. Can't have both.
What injuries he got? He's got something.
Not sure, but Caleb Daniel's a bigger headache than Fisher.
And you've been on this for weeks now. But and then does it infect, I guess, the other younger players like McKercher? Does he look at it and go, okay, well that effort is okay. I'm going to tackle with my fingertips instead of my body. You've seen that a few times from Colby. I mean, we're not going to hang the youngsters because plenty of upside there. But Sheasels the same. Are you going to tackle with your fingers or your body? Like so many weak efforts, like genuinely weak efforts.
And Aiden Core.
Yeah.
A senior body, a senior player in that team to set the standards. And Comben, okay, I don't know whether this centre-half back thing's a waste of time or not. But I think he should be playing centre-half forward. I don't think he is a centre-half back. So put him down the other end and have a look and see if he can get a win there. They're too tall. I mean, Comben doesn't use the ball well enough on the way out to become a prime-time centre-half back for me anyway.
Where do they go? I mean, the big shadow, which I guess you've touched on a bit, is Clarko. Like if he can't sort this out, how long do you give it? Because this is if you look at the rebuilding sides and Adam Simpson was good on this the other week in just terms of the little wins that you need to have along the way year on year, and you look at some measures and some KPIs where you are improving. We're not seeing any improvement, and this is what I was trying to say to Hodgie last week before he told me to shut up and I couldn't get a word in. Are we allowed to ask for improvement in some areas? Not win-loss.
Yeah. I heard Simo say that, but Simo couldn't really do that at West Coast. Like it's all, everyone says it, right? But the reality of doing it is a different discussion. So for 2 years at West Coast, we didn't say that.
Yeah, but I guess he had the flag.
But this, and so does Clarko. Clarko's got 4 other things. Like they're stamped as good coaches, yeah? And they sort of, people say, does he know what he's doing? I go, well, of course he has to. How can he not know what he's doing, right? But he's got other assistant coaches around him, so wherever he's short, he should be able to take advice or tactical nous from other people I don't know if they're strong enough. If they're not, see you later.
So if you're
Turn the
taking
page.
a large portion of the soft cap, does that allow you to have the quality around him that others have got? I don't know. That's another question.
So there's two ways of looking at that. If you're going to get bashed publicly in this role, you want to earn what you can
and you
earn,
should,
right?
and rightly so.
So I don't begrudge him getting paid.
I don't either. But
is that affecting what he brings into the club? Well, you know what? I say to the club, pay the tax. The bloody AFL are funding the joint anyway. If it goes bad, you get a handout anyway. I say pay the tax. Get the best defensive coach, get the best midfield coach, and give these young kids a chance. The AFL should, instead of giving them draft picks, that's a way of give them assistance to develop the younger players that you're bringing in quicker and more thoroughly. I'm not having a go at the development side of it. That is one tool that's never explored when clubs are putting their hand out.
Someone like a Nigel Lappin and what he's done at Geelong, and go, what is their program that they can find pick 46 in the draft every second year and turn them into a 200 gamer?
Yeah.
Is there someone you can pick off from another club like a Nigel Lappin or someone at Geelong and identify that program?
So the club's challenge right now is to give the fans a reason to keep coming and to stay strong. They're comfortable with getting. They've been seeing a lot of losing, right? They're comfortable with still turning up, but you can't turn up to 50 pluses every week.
You can't get the 151ers.
150 is a big number.
It's
isn't
a
it?
big number. Oh.
So I still think that Clarko will be there at this stage next year.
So do I.
So I'm not concerned for his job.
No.
And Jared Waitley puts it the best. It's not pressure to keep your job, it's pressure to do your job.
Yeah.
So whatever he needs, and they've given him everything he's asked for, right? So whatever else he needs, fix that now. If it is new coaches, if it is more coaches, if it is, I don't know what's
Take the
missing.
recruiting away from him, though. He's a shocking recruiter, Clarko. He's a terrible.
That's be done by committee.
He's a terrible recruiter. If they're and you don't know unless you're there, but if the pressure is on Clarko to go and get Caleb Daniel and Jack Darling and Luke Parker, and he wants these types in, which he's spoken to us about publicly in the chair that you're sitting in right now, he's not a good recruiter, and he never was at Hawthorn. Take that whole power off him in terms of recruiting, because he's not going to be there probably.
And give it to who?
To say, well, the list management committee, those that you have employed, not great, but get people in the right chair that know what they're doing. Don't give him the power to recruit, because he's no good at recruiting, and he never has been. For the Blues, I mean, not much to learn from them. I thought De Koning was unbelievable in a marquee matchup, and his price gets bigger and bigger, and I thought Hewitt's job on LDU and his ability to win the football was outstanding. And it was a case of all played well, but a case of we're not really going to get too carried away with what the Blues have delivered with their wins in the last 2 weeks. The Crows got it done, Kingy. Your boy Isaac.
My man Isaac. Are the Crows mine? Yes, they are.
You're the home team.
Too tough, too talented, too tactical, and now only 2 targets. They smacked them at clearance and contest, and with a sprinkling of magic dust from Tex and Isaac, I thought they got the score on the board. They're going to be a force, the Crows. You can see it.
They needed this one.
It was a good win, and they got the opposition at the right time.
Yeah, they got a bit lucky with that.
The old not who you play, but when you play them. But it's going to be a discussion for later in the season. When Rochelle comes back, I think he's a couple of weeks away. When he comes back into that forward mix, are they better off with Rankin 70% forward, 30% mid, or the other way around?
What do you think?
I'm sort of with you a little bit with the tools. They've got to explore.
You with me?
Well, I want to see it.
You've been smashing me for a month.
I haven't been smashing you.
Along with everyone else.
The 3 tools have worked, right? You go with 4. That's a nonsense. Let's just work with reality. It's 3.
Well, where's Curtin playing?
He's like every other player. He's because of his size doesn't mean he's a targeted player.
Well, he's a big lump of a lad.
Anyway, I want to see Riley Thilthorpe getting 15 targeted entries, not 9. Not 9. And you know what? This might just go gangbusters, and they might have to look at the whole mix.
How serious is the Fogs injury? Well, we'll check with Josh Gablich. He'll be all over it.
I spoke to our resident physio yesterday, G. Healy. He's diagnosed, made a couple of phone calls. Dr. Brucey got on the phone.
Right.
Who's not actually a doctor, but anyway. It could be anything from 2 to 6.
Okay.
If it's loose, it's an operation, but it doesn't sound like it's a loose joint. So say he's 3 weeks. I think it'd be perfect for all parties if it's 3 weeks.
Have a good look at it.
Have a good look at it. Smash the ball long to Thilthorpe and see if he is Sam Darcy. Find out.
Yep. I think he can be. The Giants, well, they were just so inefficient. 382 disposals, 241 uncontested, 104 marks for 43 entries and 4 goals. Could not score, didn't look like scoring, could not break down Adelaide's defence, who got back hard in numbers. Tricky conditions, I get it. Been on the road for a couple of weeks. They travel every... I'm writing it off. I'm not going to factor in...
What do you mean you're writing it off?
I'm not concerned at all about the Giants.
Couldn't move the ball.
Not concerned about them at all.
I'm concerned.
I'm not concerned at all.
Adelaide have only had 4 better midfield intercept games in 4 years.
Couldn't move the footy. I got you. I said that. But
how can they not move the footy?
well, they're going
Whitfield and Ash. What more do you bloody want?
Forward out. They missed some shots early. Cadman was missing from
Don't
the
worry
top
about the
of the
shots.
goal
I'm worried about
square.
getting it out of
Yeah,
there.
but it's the feel, and that gets you up,
The
and
vibe.
you miss another one. The
Marbo.
vibe. Then the rain comes, and I just don't want to be here. I've been on the road, sleeping in someone else's bed for a month. Wait till they get
Daryl
home
Kerrigan
and
over
they
here.
start destroying teams at home.